Well, we've got Dr. Amir Khan here, who's a GP and wellbeing expert who's just returned from British Columbia, Canada, where he soaked in the benefits of the great outdoors and experienced what is known as the British Columbia effect. Good afternoon, how are you, by the way?
Good afternoon, I am very well, thank you for having me.
Yeah. So, you've just returned from British Columbia, as I mentioned. Why did you go there?
It's a good question. So before this, I didn't actually know where British Columbia was, but it is in Canada. And the reason I went there was to investigate something that the doctors were doing out there, which was green prescribing. They were prescribing free passes to British Columbia's national parks to patients who might benefit health-wise, whether that's physical or mental health benefits of being outside in green spaces, in nature. And they were doing this on a large scale and getting patients and their family members out there for the well-being effects that nature offers to them and their families. And it was great. I spoke to the doctor who initiated the whole idea, how she went about it, how she got involved with the national parks and got these free passes. So it was a bit of a fact-finding mission. But as well as that, I was lucky enough to visit some of the national parks and take in some of that nature for myself.
Yeah. And what do you think it is about that nature that's helpful for our health?
There's so much evidence that being outdoors in green spaces is beneficial for our physical and mental health. For example, when we're outside in these kind of areas, our stress hormones like cortisol go down, so we feel calmer automatically. And our happy brain chemicals like serotonin and dopamine go up, so we feel happier. And so lots of us will have found ourselves kind of craving green spaces. You know, when we go out for lunch, if we have a lunch break, often you see people sitting on pieces of grass and that kind of thing. And that's because we naturally crave these areas because we know inherently they do as good, but science has proven that it does that as well.
Yeah. And there's something about being locked down over the last couple of years that it's finally good to go somewhere and see somewhere different.
Yes, travel is certainly something that we can all enjoy a bit more safely than we could before. And holidays have been shown to be beneficial to our mental health as well. And a study or a survey that we carried out actually showed that 6 out of 10 people want to go on holidays because they believe it is good for their mental health. And a break from routine is always good. So yes, I agree.
Especially if you have a really stressful job, or actually any job really, it's good to have a week or however long it is to just switch off and not have to worry about the stresses of day-to-day life.
Absolutely. You know, lots of us work really busy, stressful jobs. And even if you don't work, you've often got busy, stressful family situations as well. Just looking after children is really tough. And so a break from routine is good. You know, even if you take your whole family with you, the change in scenery will be really good for you. And again, we've evolved around nature. So getting out in nature, it goes back to our roots.
Absolutely. Do you think that green prescribing could be something that's rolled out in the future?
We are starting to see it more and more here in the UK, and we need to do more of it. So it's part of the NHS long-term plan. It comes under the umbrella of social prescribing, which is looking at patients' health in a more holistic view and plugging them into community activities that may benefit their health. And green prescribing kind of fits into that. What we need to do is get health services working alongside charities that have big nature reserves, so be it the wildlife trusts or the national trust, and get this idea of free access to green spaces for people who really benefit from them. And I think that's when we'll see a significant change. And it can't just be a case of go for a walk in the park or go to the woods, because for a lot of people that might involve getting a bus somewhere or a train somewhere because they don't have access to that. So we've got to make it more accessible for everyone.
Yeah, it's interesting because most of our population in this country is kind of concentrated in built-up areas.
Yeah.
But if you were to look at a satellite picture, most of the country is very green.
It is. You know, we do have some beautiful green spaces here in the UK, and it's about getting people to those places. I work in inner city Bradford, and the Yorkshire Dales isn't too far away from us, but asking my patients to go there to get the benefits of being outdoor there would involve a long car trip or 2 trains, possibly a couple of buses. And you know, for my patients, that's just too expensive. They can't do it. We need to get places that are reserved green spaces in these particularly northern inner city areas. When I go down to London, which I often do for work, yes, it's built up and yes, it's busy, but there's green spaces dotted around the city that is accessible for many of its residents. But that's not always the case for other cities outside of the northeast, and we've got to make sure it's equal across the board.
Yeah, and in terms of British Columbia, I suppose for some people it's maybe a bit out of their budget, perhaps. Are there places that have a similar effect?
Yes. So I understand that I was incredibly lucky to go to British Columbia to get the BC effect. Yeah. But any green space will do. So if you've got a local park, even your garden, make sure when you do go there that you're concentrating on what's going on around you. So it's not a case of walking through the woods, scrolling through Instagram. That's not what's going to work. You've got to listen to the bird sounds, immerse yourself in the movement of things that are going on around you. Perhaps touch a tree, feel the bark, really concentrate on what's going on. It's all about being mindful in nature, and you can do that anywhere. It doesn't have to be a big green space. Anywhere that you can connect with nature is good enough.
Yeah. Well, where are we able to go to find out more information about this?
So you can find out more information about the benefits of nature on your health, and if you want to find out more about the BC effect, go to hellobc.com.
Great. Well, many thanks for joining us on the show today. It's been great to have you here.
Thank you. My pleasure.